How's it going, everybody? We are here right now to talk about the moon. It was brought to my attention in a video that I did recently that the moon may be responsible for destroying people's lives. With that being said, what does the moon represent? The moon represents emotions, emotional attachments, emotional expressions, instinct, which is the sixth sense, the intuition, right? The gut feeling. What else? Nurturing, the mother, breasts, the stomach. These are the things that are all characteristics of the moon. Family, the family home life. So, where do we begin? Well, let's talk like this, right? Often I like to parallel the moon to the sun because there's this like dark light yin yang thing going on. Always has been, right? Years ago, we used to run the calendars by the moon. 13 months, 27 days. That's another video, right? However, society, shifted and changed things around to where we utilize a sun calendar, solar calendar now. So, what does the sun represent? Sun represents individuality. It's usually closely associated with males. It represents the spinal cord. It represents fun, leisure, government, rules, right? So this is things that we're talking about when we're talking about the sun. Now, the reason why I mention the sun also is because there's an individuality there to where the sun is about self-expression too. It's highly associated with the ego, right? So this is the place where we express our likes and dislikes as individuals. And see, automatically there's a difference. And I'm not going to say automatically there's conflict or it conflicts with the structure of the moon. What I'm saying is it differs because it's an individuality compared to a collective, cohesive unit with the moon, right? Family and everything. All right, so this may be why this person had said, well, maybe the moon is responsible for, destroying a lot of people's lives. And to a degree that is true, to an extent that is true, and that's like the elephant in the room sometimes that people do not want to talk about. And I think this is a great forum to talk about it. And I think to extend on that, I believe that astrologers have a responsibility to also highlight the gender-specific attributes that have been assigned to people based upon astrological bodies or celestial bodies, right? Because you got the moon, you automatically think women, and you think men have nothing to do with that. And this is why perhaps in some forums you can see men being shunned when they express emotions, right? And not only the emotional expression of a person, right? But also all of the characteristics that are associated with the moon, which are sixth sense, instinct, gut feelings. Men have those things. And I've seen men have those stronger than women even have, all right? Nurturing aspects. There are some men who are great nurturers, right? However, they get shunned for that too. Why are you taking care of this and taking care of that's a woman's job and things of that nature. And I know we live in modern times. I know this. However, you'd be surprised of how many people still operate based on these structures from long ago, right? So I think this is a great time to talk about this, and this is a great thing to talk about. So with the moon videos, I'm about to do a slew of videos that explains the moon as it goes through each sign. However, unlike other videos that you're used to watching that are like that, I'm not only going to describe what the moon means in each sign and what you should do and everything. I'm going to explain how how you can utilize your moon sign to benefit you in everyday life. And the reason why I'm doing an initiating video is because I want to give my analogies or my perspective on what I believe the moon is, how it plays a part in our everyday life, right? For one, the moon is about habits. And I think that's the most important part that people need to understand. And there's speculation that those habits can get people into a comfort zone that should be disrupted because of change. However, that can be countered because we can easily say, why shouldn't we continue to do and have the things that we like, right? The moon is not responsible for the change, the necessary change on a monumental level, those are different planets that are associated with that, not the moon. Okay, now the moon is responsible for fluctuations, however. So now let's talk about it like a nighttime festivity. Of course, we're dealing with the moon, right? So let's say like it's dinner time. We're all supposed to eat at a certain time dinner, right? Let's say a particular food runs out. Someone's going to have to go out and get that, bring it back home, so we can continue to have that. Now, that is a habit that is beneficial to one's well-being until or unless there is it's jeopardized or it's threatened, and that can be, that security is the word, is threatened, because the moon deals with not only emotional security, but financial security as well, because we live in a monetary-based system. So if there's some type of conflict within a cohesive unit, it's going to be attributed to that, right? So that's the fluctuation, or the change rather, that the moon is responsible for. It's not responsible for it on a grand scale as Pluto would be responsible for it, all right? Or even as Uranus would be responsible for it. So now there is a flip side to the moon being habitual, and that is you can become predictable, all right? So people can pretty much know what you're going to do by tracking your habits, by tracking your behavior. So it's like, if your significant other comes home at a certain time, you know how to do things according to that time when they come home. Now, what is being done is not any of my business. You get what I'm saying, right? So here's another thing that needs to be explained. The sun is responsible for creative expression. So you do what you love when you're being associated with the sun, and you do what is your preference when you're associated with the moon. Because think about it, right? If you build a family, if you begin a family, it's because you preferred a particular woman out of all of the other women in the universe, and from that came a lineage, your next of kin, etc., right? So that is something that you decided to do apart from what you love. Now, when emotions are driven within the family unit, the cohesive unit, a lot of the times it's associated with the woman, right? Or at least she's going to get the rap for it. So that means that there's been a fluctuation, there's been a change within the household that she does not resonate well with her, and something has to change, or she's going to start slamming things around and stuck in her teeth, and she's going to hold out on the goodies and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying, right? So what happens is, and this is talking in general, right? The man is a lot of the times not in the know of what's really happening, and he's like, well, if I'm not comfortable here, I'm leaving, or I have to make a set of rules, and if this woman doesn't abide by my rules, I'm leaving. Therefore, you see a lot of men leave the household. So I say that to say this: when you're creating in the sun, with the sun attributes rather, you're being compensated for the things that you love to do, and that spills over into the household, into the cohesive unit. So if we backtrack and we look at how society developed, as far as what is alleged to be civilization, we look at marriage. It's because a man made a rule that said, listen, I'm going to pick you to be my wife, but you got to be my woman for real. Like, we got to put this on paper and everything, and you can't leave me, you can't be with another man, you have to do this, that, and the third, right? And that's how those things got established. And perhaps, women had some say so in that too. I don't know the particulars, right? I'm just saying, now if we reflect on that, we can also admit that a lot of men took a gamble, which is also associated with the sun, right? A lot of men have taken a gamble and chosen a woman to be, to participate in moon activities, should I say, right? And now I'm going to say this theoretically speaking, right? That once the woman has given what she has to give, which is the nurturing to the child, which is why the moon is associated with the woman in the first place, then the man, even the woman from that unit, should develop into a being that becomes aware of the creativity associated with their sun, okay? With the sun, rather, right? And this is why astrologers must explain to people that the sun is also associated with the woman, because the woman also has the ability to go out there and be creative and do the things that she loves and be compensated for it now. You know, a lot of wars were fought and, you know, the laws were given, the rights were given. So now we are in modern times, and I think people are still scared to move their feet and get on with it already, okay? And especially men, like I think we put too much emphasis on the woman being pregnant and the process of pregnancy, and don't put enough emphasis on men being pregnant all of our life. Like, we're walking around with little babies in our nut sacks all our lives. And, you know, when we choose to provide a baby for a woman, or for all of us, right? Once the woman, as I said before, once the woman provides the nurture that she is naturally able to give to the child and rears the child up, then she should be getting back to participating in qualities of the son, okay? And you can compare this to marriages that where people later on down the line decide to have a baby to keep the marriage together. Just think about that.
She is above average, bro, organized manager. T's Madagascar. See my drive, they reply fast as a NASCAR. TV plasma, queen since a teen, give me keys to your Jaguar. Oh, I'ma hop into my avatar. You should hop into your avatar. Let's update each other's repertoire. As above, as below, I hop into her avatar. She has above average, bro, hop into that avatar. T's Madagascar. See my drive, they reply fast as a NASCAR. Caged in my cage for days and on now. She raises our refrain, jealous of Mary Jane because my aim is a mouth. No smoke in my face, don't play that in my house. So okay, emoji, be devout. These days so sane, I don't even drink a stout. If I was getting paid, but she pop up on my route. Spider mining all this data, you should be in my cloud. You wanna sit and sip, go ahead lay down on the couch. Find out how to pay the rent, that's the way to stay around. I'ma hop into my avatar. You should hop into your avatar. Let's update each other's repertoire. As above, as below, I hop into her avatar. She has above average, hop into that avatar. Hard drive in the software, I'm a passenger. Blue and purple hair, suck the Kool-Aid right out of her.